I'm Gary.
Hello, I'm Leon, the grandfather.
And we are Gary and...
The grandfather.
Hey, how you all doing today?
So, Gary, how's life?
I feel really tired.
Why
Must be
are you tired? You're tired a lot, you know. You're a young man still.
Nah, I guess I'm getting old.
No, not at all. Not at all. So,
I'm not a spring chicken anymore.
well, let's talk a little bit about aging, hey? I think aging is a really interesting phenomenon because here I am. I find myself 65 and in my heart I'm 31. I've told you 31 was my ideal time.
Mm-hmm.
Made a bit of money, you know, had my own business finally started, right? You know?
Yeah.
And so I've come to maintain and come to believe that really people say you are as old as you feel, but I think there is some truth to this. That in reality we have to watch this nonsense that we're pre-programmed to get young, to get middle-aged, to get old, and to die.
You think we are then?
Yeah, I think that society wants to move us right along.
Okay.
And if you go against the flow in any way, shape, or form, the society vilifies you. You know, it doesn't agree with you. It teases you. It has all sorts of. Well, I mean, like, could you go out to a club at your age, for instance?
It depends where I am. I think when I was in New York City about 10 years back, I remember there were some 30-plus-year-old clubs and bars and stuff for around the age 30 and 40-year-old singles. But majority of clubs, I think not really. That if I were to go out now, I don't feel that I'm old. I'm not even 40 yet. But if I went to the club and went out as a single man who's in his 30s, a lot of people would just look at me and they say, well, he's the creepy old guy. And I think that's not fair. I'm not married. It's not because I don't want to be married. It's just, it just hasn't happened yet. I haven't met the right person or whatever. But it's, so to say creepy old guy when I'm not even 40 yet.
But you know, they do say, Gary, that, I mean, that perception is given to you by you, right? So when you go out and you feel, like you said those things just now, you feel like the creepy old guy.
No, I don't. But
okay, well then who cares about anyone else?
Well, it matters.
Why?
From my perspective, it doesn't matter.
Okay.
I am secure enough
okay.
in my own body, just as I think you are in yours.
Yeah, sure.
I do me, and I don't really. I think that's one thing with aging. I think that the older I get, the less I can care about what other people think, for sure.
Yeah, sure.
But from a society standpoint, this is kind of true, I think, where I used to, when I was 10, 15 years younger, back in university, and probably sure when you were younger as well, you heard similar things about, you know, the person in the club or the old guy at the bar, whoever.
Yeah, they're laughed at. Sure.
And you've heard the things.
Sure.
So, I personally couldn't care less. But at the same time, society kind of has this attitude towards people, and I just it doesn't make it a nice atmosphere.
Well, no, fair enough. But there's two things happening here, right? One is that you've commented on. You said you don't care, and the other is society. But obviously, you do care, right? I mean,
I don't care.
Well, you have to care because you're telling me the society judges you in a certain way.
But but I don't care.
Well, you have to care.
No, I don't.
You're commenting on it, so you must care.
No, I don't care.
Well, then why did you even comment then?
Because I'm just saying that's how society.
Well, I think
for better or for worse.
But
for better or for worse, that's how the society portrays it.
But you agree with me that this is the problem with aging, is that we have these preconditioned ideas, and even
I would agree with that.
Even by espousing them, even by saying them. I mean, 65. I mean, I mean, when I was your age, I thought 65. I thought at least one foot and another toe in the grave.
Yeah,
right?
sure.
At least.
Sure.
You wouldn't feel good. You wouldn't be contented. You wouldn't.
Yeah.
All of these things. And it's all just nonsense. But I adopted it. So, and I realized that just by uttering things, like society says this about old people, or I believe this is what the society believes, blah, 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 I was actually damaging my own image, because even though I claimed it wasn't affecting me, it actually was, because I was saying it, you see.
No,
You know?
but I think that's where we're different. We probably take things to a we probably approach things differently.
Okay.
Where just because I say something and look at it head on, this is what the articles show, this is what the studies say, this is what I've heard from the people around me. I don't really let it bother me, because
You sure?
yes, because I'm not one of those people. I've never been the guy to go with the crowd. I've always, marched to my own drum.
Yeah.
And as a person who's always marched to his own drum or her own drum, at this point in time, I really don't care what other people think. I do what I do. Full stop. Period. End of sentence.
Yeah.
But all I'm saying is that even though I don't care that if I go to a club, for example, at my age, and people look at me and say, okay, he's the the old guy or whatever. Okay, sure.
Look at that old guy there.
Okay, sure. And then I'll just order up another beer and drink and talk to some people and do my funky dancing, whatever. Sure, and that's fine.
Hi, baby.
That that's how it is. But at the same time, even though I don't really care if people laugh at me about this or that or the other thing,
Yeah.
why would you put yourself into a situation
Fair
where
enough.
people would laugh at you?
Fair enough.
I mean,
yeah, fair enough.
just to say,
Yeah.
to put it out publicly, I'm very confident in myself that I've published several books. I've programmed some video games and published them. I'm a teacher. I'm in a band. I do paintings and stuff. So I do a lot of things. So that's kind of a humble brag, I guess it is. But
And I'm selling him this day, just today, discount. Today he's worth $100,000. Now, if you
I get cook as well.
If you want to take the payment plan, we can work it out, Or if you want it cash, we accept a discount, no problem, right? No problem.
I make a mean spaghetti bolognese sauce as well, but and I also homebrew if we continue, wine and beer. And okay, I'll stop. But anyways, the point is, I do enough things. I don't care in my life if somebody's going to laugh at me about something superficial as my age at the club. But at the same time, even though I don't care, why would you put yourself into a situation where people are going? Why would you? It's like going on what's the show called? Jerry Springer. Like, why would you put yourself in that situation? You know what I mean? Why would you put yourself in this situation? To
look like an idiot.
Obviously, going on the show, you know what's going to happen before you even go on there.
Well, that's why they go on.
And that's why they go. So,
Well,
but why would you put yourself into that situation? That's just something that I personally, I have a bit more respect for myself.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if I would even, Gary, I don't even know if I would frame aging quite in this way.
But in the Jerry Springer.
Gary Springer. No, but I don't think I would frame it, because I think that in theory, all of us are on a path towards wisdom, right? I mean, that should be our ultimate goal. Right?
Yeah, it should be.
Should be our ultimate goal. And those that don't occupy that space, really, I don't think we speak to here, right? Because people that are, what did Aristotle say? The unexamined life is a life not worth living, and I think he's probably true, right? And so if you're not one of those kinds of people that you want to sit back and analyze the reality you occupy, then I don't think we have anything to say. So I think this is where it becomes serious about aging, because I think that why am I alive? And I mean, if you have any type of theological background, religious background, believe in a God, you realize immediately that your job in life is quite simple, actually. Your job is to take in as much knowledge as you possibly can and give it back to the society, to the benefit of this, for the benefit of the society, right? And I don't see this anymore. I see that old people are doing exactly what you're suggesting. At 30, I can't go out to a club. At 40, I got to do this. At 50, I got to do that. At 60, I'm this. At 65, find my box. How big is my box? You know the one I really love? The living funeral. I think that's fantastic, right? You can actually anticipate your death, so you can actually talk to your old friends. And so on the one side, it's a wonderful thing because you might not have time to say goodbye. But on the other time, you actually anticipate the cessation of your life. But in reality, your life goes on forever, whatever your background, because of memories, actions, right?
Well, I think the thing, I think that it's one thing, like you said, to say, okay, I'm living into or buying into society's expectations that I'm not going out at this age,
right.
I'm doing that at that age, I'm having a living funeral at this age,
right.
retiring at that age.
Right.
But I think at the same time that you don't need to be buying into that to have a bit of respect for yourself,
Of course.
which is what I'm thinking about. Where it's kind of like, I think we've talked about this before, maybe even on here, with like some of the great rock bands, of the past, where there's just something about seeing the Mick Jagger or what's his name, Angus Young, or whoever, up on stage
with no hair,
looking like a million years old, and acting like they're 20. That
it is a little bit something.
I mean, if I think that a person should never be denied what they enjoy doing. So those guys, they grew up with music. I'm a musician myself, obviously not even 1/1,000,000th as talented as they are. But at the same time, I think that so I think that they should be able to play and perform if they want to. But maybe instead of doing world tours and selling out huge stadiums, they should be playing, locally in their areas, just kind of taking a more of a...
or instructing more, maybe.
Or instructing more.
Yeah.
I think a lot of the footballers, the soccer, the retired soccer players, I think that's what they do.
Yeah, better, I think.
And I think it's kind of... I think it's better. It's kind of like going out in grace, so to speak. Where,
no, I take your point.
Yeah.
I do take your point, No, I do think you have to have... I mean, that's, to be honest, Gary, that's the reason you grow old graciously. Or gracefully, because... Well, both really, but gracefully, because ultimately you have respect for yourself.
Yes. Yes.
You don't want to look like you're a bloated old fool, with no teeth, right? You want to look as if you have some elan, some style. You have lived 60, 70 years, so why not? Why be some godforsaken physical reprobate? Because the body will age, and it would be awfully stupid to believe the body's going to remain 30, but you still can go for a walk, go to a gym, have a positive attitude.
Exactly.
And I think that is, I agree with you.
Exactly.
That is respect. So if I'm 40 years old and I'm hunting for girls at some nightclub, I mean, that's a little distasteful because you're not going to meet nice girls at a nightclub.
Yes.
I mean, of course not, right? So I mean, that certainly is to be reflected on, right? So, but my my honest concern is that the aged, some of them with great talent, are just running away from young people, and the young people, because they laud the Kim Kardashians of the world. They laud this youthful this youthful look, that lithe bodies, big muscles,
Muscles, yeah.
all the rest of it, right?
Uh-huh.
You know, that the old people are just running away and hiding, and they're not contributing back because, you know, until the 20th century, in the 19th century, the old were still really well thought of for the most part. They were, you know, everywhere in the world. They were the venerated seers, so to speak. And then somehow we start to, maybe war has had a lot to do with it. We start to say the heroes. So in the 19th century, the heroes were older. 20th century, the heroes are younger. A lot of it had to do directly with war. And now the heroes are, I mean, my God, they're children. They're 20 years old with no life experience at all, and they're held up to be these icons. I mean, you read some of these. You read the volume of hits on some of the bloggers, the floggers, and the moggers. It's just remarkable, right? And what could they know about life to be able to influence a young person? Nothing. Zero. They can know about some fashion phenomenon, maybe, or they can know about some sexual phenomenon. They can know about these kinds of specialized things, but they can't know about life. They've not lived it. You see, that's my pet peeve. You know, it's not that all these markets shouldn't exist, but the old have got to get off their duffs and start to really contribute back, because the kids need it now more than ever. You know, they need it more than ever.
So herein lies the problem, or the question. You know, I will place the question. How, because I agree actually with a lot of the things that you say here, but how
Shocking.
do you, was it?
Shocking.
What?
Shocking.
My hair is
Yeah,
not
there
going
you
so
go.
well.
Okay, go on.
Yeah.
Go on.
Actually, knock on wood, my hearing is actually, you know, really, really good. You know, a few years back, I took a hearing test at the Science Museum,
Yeah.
and my hearing was as good as about a 15-year-old's
Wow.
in detecting the volumes.
Ah,
And
the price is going up.
I was shocked. Even the girl I was dating at the time, who was a few
He's
years
had
younger
so
than me,
many.
that her
She's
her
younger.
hearing was worse than mine.
She's younger
And
than you.
I'm
That's the-
shocked, because I would have thought that my hearing would be shot because of all my music and the electric guitars and stuff.
Yeah.
So luckily,
Yeah.
so far it's been fine.
Yeah.
But anyways, I guess the question is, how do you relate to? Because I agree with what you say, but how do you relate to people who are so much younger than you? And I before you answer, I will give, you know, just to say something myself. I work with primarily kindergarten children, 4, 5, 6 preschool, kindergarten, and I also teach some children about 8 to 10, 12 years old. And with the children, I always relate to them talking about video games. You know, when I was, you know, a kid, the big one was Super Mario Brothers. So even though their Super Mario Brothers, which I've seen pictures of, and I've kept up with some, but not entirely, theirs and the one I played, they look totally different, but it's more or less, at the core, it's the same. Same characters, the same music, because they'll bring in the old music and remix it and stuff. So if I hum the tune, the kids, they'll know the tune and everything. And same with when I got older as a teenager, Pokemon, I guess, became popular, and I got into that for a bit. And the same thing, they've added more monsters, more characters, which I have no idea who they are. I just know the original generation. But they remix it, and again, I can relate to the kids, and we could talk about it, because the most famous ones, Pikachu or Charmander, whoever, that we both know who they are, and we can relate on this level about video games or about cartoons. The same thing. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, a few years ago they did a remake. Characters look different, but it's the same characters, and we can relate on this level, although it's different. So I guess what I'm wondering is how do you relate? How can you relate to
Young people?
the younger people?
Yeah.
Because I think that in order to, I hate to say it, but to gain their respect, you have to show them, hey, we can relate on
Sure.
some level or another. And at that point, they kind of start to open up to you and say, oh, okay, you know, now let's talk.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's a really good question. The first thing I've noticed is that you have to, you can't gain their respect. You have to earn their respect.
Yes, yes.
And that's very hard to do. And the only way I think this can be done is that you somehow, and I like to talk, right? Somehow you have to learn to close your mouth. You have to learn to listen. And if you learn to listen, and if you do what you say you're going to do, which is always a big thing, especially if you have a large class like 30, 40 kids. I'm going to post this, I'm going to help you with that, whatever it is. If that happens and you're willing to put in the work, you know, then slowly but surely you will begin to earn their respect. And that's what it happens. And then I try to make it fun as well. You know, we sing some songs and I let them, well, I asked them at the beginning of all the classes, I asked them at the beginning of the term if they would give me their favorite songs, and they have a whole list of songs, and I download them, and I remove the profanity. You know, I put asterisks where the profanity is, you know, and then I give them the song, and I explain the song, and I think they appreciate this, right? Because it's their music. I learned a lot about music, I must say. You know, about,
Are you sure?
You know, well, I learned a lot about the kind of music that they like. And it's not very good, I don't think.
Oh, come on,
You know,
that's being biased.
No, it's not very good.
No, everyone says about that. Everyone else's music.
No.
No.
Their music will not be here in 10 years' time because it's all generated by a marketing agency, Gary. That's the problem. You know this. Your music, the music that you write and create, comes from your soul, comes from you. The music that they're listening to, and not all, of course, but a lot of it is actually created by the internet, by marketing teams. You know, it's the look, it's the sound. It's not spontaneous originality, which art should be, right? Art, music, these are phenomena that should be wonderful, and it's not. It's a kind of a contained, controlled, contrived reality. But that's what I do. And I also don't interrupt them. I've learned this. So you come into class and they're boisterous, I say nothing and I wait. And then some bright spark after a minute or two will say, shh, and the class will quiet down. Then I thank them. Thank you. Then I tell them what we're going to do today, you know, and I make them write. All the classes, they have to write every week. They have to write something, usually to the song or something we're dealing with in the syllabus, right? They have to write me an article, and I take it back and I check it, and then, but if I could share with you, one day I'm leaving the class and there's a group of young men, you know, these are 17, 16-year-old boys.
Yeah, sure.
They're around me, right? And they're waiting, and everyone files out, and they say, "Sir?" I said, "Yes." They, "Oh my God, what have I done?" I said, How do we talk to a girl?
No way!
Yeah, and you obviously have experience, you know. I mean, they look like I'm a dinosaur. Yeah, and so I gave them my best shot. The next week, you ready for this? The next week, there's a group of girls, right? They're around. "Sir," I say, "Yes, sir. How do we're going to go," and a lot of these kids are going abroad to study, a lot of them. "How do we know if we're talking to a nice man?" Right? And then you think to yourself, wow. So I gave them the eye theory, right? I go with the eye. I trust my eyes, right? The eye theory is the one I think is the most telling in Western culture. Look at their eyes. Aristotle again, but you know, and I think it's true. Right? But I've had conversations like that over the course of my teaching career, right? And they're very touching. Really, they really are, you know, really are. And I've had Yeah, I've had some gay students talk to me,
Mm-hmm.
you know, very upset about the way their parents have treated them, and it just goes on. I mean, you become a bit of a bit of a, I don't like this word, but you become a sounding board in a sense, because you're neutral. You're a teacher,
Yeah.
you know, and
yeah,
I
for
tell
sure.
them,
Yeah.
I tell them, look, at the beginning of a class, I always try to make a point of, what am I doing? You're opening the door. Okay. Now what am I doing? You're closing the door. Okay. There's only us. There's only 35 people here, one old guy and 34 young people. What we do here stays in the classroom. A. B. Who's my teacher? Who's my teacher? And they eventually get it. I am. Right? That's right. These individuals, the teacher. My job is to help you teach you. Right? And so I take the responsibility away from this old guy and I give it to you. And they appreciate this. You know, really. That's what I do, Gary. You know? And I've done it time and time. I check it, you know. And I check it every week. I check it again and again and again and again. And I'm on the right, you know, I'm on the right teaching platform, I think. I really am. Because, you know, in today's world, if the kids aren't happy, they're going to tell somebody immediately.
Yeah.
You know?
Or they'll post a video.
Post
or
a
something.
video, or they'll
Yeah.
tell, you know, you're not hiding something, you know.
No way.
You know, if they think you're, I mean, I originally at the girls' school here, I got the job. I got offered the job originally because some teacher was there and he would half the class was videos. He would post videos in half the class, and eventually the class turned on him, and they reported to him, and he was gone. And there I was in, and I was kind of embarrassed because they asked me, would I like another class? I think it was already at the school. I said, sure, why not? The next day, another class, just gone. It was just
wow.
like poof, right? So I mean, so the schools are ruthless in that sense, you know. But I, you know, as you age, Gary, I'd like you to reflect. What's my mission? Right? Why am I alive? And ultimately, where am I going? Right? And I think those kind of three things really give me energy, right? And I have a friend here, and she always asks me, why are you, what's your biggest concern in life? And I always tell her not to finish my mission before I'm dead. That's my concern. But I mean, it's good. You can't finish your mission, of course, right? Not really. But, you know, we're on our way. We got a couple of books, like, you know, you've talked about books. Well, you know, sure. Books, get your God-given information out into the world. Not for vanity, hopefully, but to help people reflect. Because it's a reflective time in history, isn't it? At least it should be, you know?
Yeah,
Right? You
yeah.
know, I really think.
You know, well, isn't that strange? I guess I am getting older.
Why is that?
Because I thought I was always taller than you.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
But
I've grown. What can I say?
Yeah, do you see it? Yeah.
I never noticed before.
It looks like I'm shrinking.
I never noticed. Yeah, after I was 16 years old, I never noticed size any longer. Because everyone is taller than me. Everyone.
Except for me.
Except for you. I don't know. You're shrinking now, but you'll spin back. So, but aging. Please consider aging. It's an important topic, right? Age well, like fine wine.
Yeah,
Right.
I think that's what we. I think that's what is definitely important. You know, to keep in mind what Leon has said, and just even what I've discussed as well. That with aging, we should try to age with grace.
Yeah.
And we shouldn't just do nothing, become inactive beings. That we should keep doing stuff, doing things, as Leon said, fulfill our missions. You know, try to focus on things like that, and just staying active. I think it's important to be active, and
why not?
why not?
That's
Exactly.
Michael. Why not?
I think that, well, you know, that's one other thing that I know some people who, I have a friend, and we, this is just a quick aside, you know, I guess it's getting late for guy like me. But I have a friend, and we used to go cycling together,
Yeah.
and he's about 5 years younger than me.
Well,
And in addition to being 5 years younger, he's also in like better physical condition than I am.
yeah.
You know, he's not overweight or anything.
Yeah.
So we go cycling, and we ultimately, if it came down to, if we were going all out, you know, he would, of course,
Be in front.
he would be in front if we were. But we usually would ride together. My endurance was actually better than his, and there was a few rides where, you know, after about 100 kilometers or whatever, he started getting tired, his leg muscles and everything, and
He'd
my endurance,
lag behind.
and he'd start lagging, yeah, and I could keep going, where my endurance was better than his. But if it was just in terms of sprinting or whatever,
Yeah.
he would always be ahead of me if we were going at it like that. And we never really did. But it's just something that I thought to myself, there's no point in trying to... Well, no, let me step back. Let me rephrase that. I think that when you do anything, it's good if other people do try to push you to achieve the best that you can achieve.
For sure.
For sure. But at the same time, if you're 5 or 10 years older than the other guy who's in the prime of his youth and is even more physically fit than you are, what do you have to achieve, or even to try? Why are you trying to prove that you're
The same as him.
the same as him in terms of
Experience
experience
age.
or ability or whatever? What are you trying to prove? Because all that's going to happen is, at best, you match him. At worst, and most likely, you end up injuring yourself and being out for half the season.
That's right.
And for what gained? So I think that, again, this goes back to this whole idea of aging gracefully.
Yeah.
To realize and recognize, you know, why are you even trying to compete with
Yeah.
people like that? But to just feel secure
Yeah.
about
Yourself.
yourself,
Yeah. Compete with yourself.
and compete
right.
with yourself, and
Absolutely.
stay active,
Yeah.
and be who you are. And even, I'll tell you, and this is, you know, for me, I don't like to hear it. For you, you will love to hear it. So many times, if my father and I are out together someplace, and everybody says, my friends, my lady friends, will always, if I'm talking with them, they don't turn an eye towards me. But they always say about my father, he's so handsome and sophisticated. And, you know, if he was a single man, you know.
Well, yeah. That's
You
another
know,
whole. That's
it's
another
a
topic.
whole other thing.
Dating.
But, you know,
relationships.
I'm just saying that,
Oh.
you know, I think, yeah,
Yeah, for sure. I take your
the
point.
aging, for me anyways, age gracefully and stay active.
Yeah.
That's my takeaway. What's yours?
Well, I think in my personal brand, I need some elan, some style, right? Why not? I mean, why not? You know, and because you're not just one of 8 billion people. You're you. There's
Yeah.
nobody like you. Never has been. Never will be. So it's up to you, right? Don't be one of those bitter old men and women. I see lots of them. So do you.
Yeah.
I don't like them.
sure.
I think they should really just die, go away. Honest to God, God forgive me. I think they should just go, because all they do is cause trauma to the family. The bitter old person is poison in a family. Poison, right? You know, and I don't think that's right. You should be grateful and joyous and happy, right? Little story, and then we'll go. I'll leave you with this story. The other morning, I was at some shop quite early, get a cup of coffee, 6 o'clock. And there was a grandfather there, obviously taking the 3 grandchildren for breakfast. He's going to look after them. And the old man was just angry. And the kids were wild, running around. That was just a fiasco.
Yeah.
He was just bitter and old, screaming at the kids and everything. And I thought to myself, gosh, two things. A, what an experience for the old man, but more importantly, what an indelible experience for those three children, those three boys. I mean, how could you not hate an old person if that were somebody screaming at me? Not, you know, my grandfather just showered me with love and respect.
Yeah.
Right? He listened to me, my ridiculous ideas. He listened, right? You know, could you imagine your grandfather screaming at you, "You idiot!" You know, my
Oh,
God.
it was always a treat when I got to see my grandfather.
Yeah, absolutely.
Again, he loved, you know,
Absolutely.
when we'd go over and visit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's getting late.
All right. Yep. I'm starting to feel a bit tired. And yeah. Guess it's
So-
that old age catching up with me.
Grandfather out.
Yeah, we're going out to. Good night, guys.
Good night, guys. Bless you.
Yeah.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.